Hello and welcome to SEO is Not That Hard. I'm your host, Ed Dawson, founder of keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution to finding the questions people ask online. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about how concentrating on questions rather than keywords can work in many different online marketing roles. So if you've been listening for a while to any of my podcasts, you'll know that I talk about questions more than keywords, being how I've always concentrated on producing content for the sites that I've built. And that's what obviously led me to build Keywords People Use to help people find the kind of questions people ask online, whether that's from People Also Ask, from Google Auto Suggest, Reddit and Quora and other sources. But I'm often asked, how does using questions instead of keywords relate to this kind of role or that kind of role? So I thought I'd go through in this podcast, all the different types of roles and how using questions rather than keywords can really be valuable for you and give you an edge. So the first one, obviously, SEOs. I mean, if you're an SEO, then working with questions and then building topical clusters and topical authority based on those questions is clearly like an obvious use case. Obviously you're measured on results as an SEO. So, following a process from questions to clusters to content and then to rankings obviously is really valuable for you. And the tools that we've got in Keywords People Use obviously can be very useful for that. Moving on from SEOs, we've got people working in PPC. Now, in PPC, you're really measured, aren't you, on the results you get for your landing pages. So using the questions that people ask helps you find out what people's objections are. And from the objections that you find from those questions about the products that you're promoting online, then you can build better landing pages. If you can counter those objections in your landing pages, you're going to improve your conversion rates. So that means you can obviously measure that really quickly. Your clients will love it. You'll get better results by answering those questions in your landing pages. Next up, we have copywriters. So if you're a copywriter or your job involves any kind of copywriting, then you'll know how challenging it can be to switch from one client's topic area to another. And you're probably dealing with new topic areas coming up all the time. So by concentrating on the questions that people are asking online, it's perfect for diving deep into understanding the full range of questions that people ask on a topic, especially when it's a new topic area for you that you're trying to get to grips with. Obviously, as a copywriter, having questions that people are asking is really important if you're building frequently asked questions sections, but it's also important to make sure you answer those questions, not literally just as here's a question, here's the answer, but building in the answers to the questions within the body of your content, and also taking these questions, and it helps you group different pages into different topics, into different clusters. So obviously copywriters, I think most people see the clear benefit of by working with questions rather than just straight keywords is really, really valuable for you. The next role to look at is agencies. So if you're in an agency role, and I understand agencies very well because, I don't know if you don't know my complete story, I actually worked at a big London agency in the early 2000s. And when you're working with clients, and especially with new clients, from pitch to discovery, execution and delivery, your clients will feel like you've understood them and their customers inside out if you've got a real understanding of the questions that real people ask about that brand, about that niche that they're working in and their topic area. So if you have a happy client, it's one who feels that they've really understood them, and using questions and doing the question research will really, really help you in that. So, we've got the tools in Keywords People Use that do all the visualizations, and that's the kind of stuff that can really wow, potential clients and existing clients with those visual representations. It just makes you look like you understand them intimately right from the get-go, and it's really easy to do. And I just wish we'd had this data and these tools of 20 years ago. We didn't back then, and researching new industries and switching from industry to industry when you're working with clients, was the discovery process was so much more time consuming and difficult, and now it can just be done so quickly, and you and your clients all really benefit from it. So next up, we've got bloggers. And the biggest issue that I know bloggers have is the blank page problem. Sitting down to write your next blog post and having no idea where to start. So the beauty of working with questions rather than keywords is you always know where to go next. you can build up this bank of questions, cluster them, put them into topics, and you've just got that clear direction every time you sit down on where to go next with the content you've got to produce. We know from the recent Google helpful content updates how important it is that your content is actually helpful, and obviously answering people's questions in the first place is a helpful thing to do, and it's the kind of thing that will meet your readers' needs, and that's key when you're writing the content for your blog, that you keep it helpful and you keep it matching the intent of the users you've got coming and reading it, and answering questions and basing your content on questions rather than chasing keywords is one key way of doing that. If you're running a software as a service business, a SaaS business, or working for a SaaS business, and finding the questions people have about your product and getting them answered on your site and in your sales copy is crucial to turning prospects into leads and leads into sales. And additionally, you can learn from the questions people ask about your competitors, which allow you to improve your pitch to people who might be evaluating your service against your competitors. And thirdly, it helps you find new avenues in which to develop your product by watching for the questions people are asking and identifying where they struggle or need additional services to help them solve the problems. So it's, basing things on questions, again, is really valuable for SaaS companies. Next up, we've got e-commerce sites. Now, with an e-commerce site, you can't just put your products on a site and expect to rank for them. So, for example, you might sell hair care products. You're just not going to rank for terms like hair care and best hair care products for frizzy hair without having in-depth content on your site about the whole subject of hair care. And you need to make sure you cover every question that your customers and prospective customers could have about the products, the topics around the products you sell. It'll help you build topical authority you need to rank in Google, as well as build trust with your customers, as well as obviously helping with attracting people to the site in the first place by getting higher in Google by answering these questions and building that authority. It's also going to help with your conversion rate optimization. So obviously people are going to buy from someone who's answering their questions. So if they've come into your site, they're looking at a product, if they've got questions in their head, if they're answered on the page in front of them there, that's going to improve your conversion rate and increase your sales. And finally, we've got brands and public relations. Now, I've joined these two together because although a brand owner might not be looking at public relations and a public relations person might not be a brand owner, they kind of have similar kind of use cases. So I'm just going to copy them, put them all into one together. So for a brand, what you can get from the questions you can find from tools like Keywords People Use that you won't get elsewhere is you'll find the questions that people won't ask you directly. People will ask a search engine questions that they wouldn't ask any human being. You'll do it yourself, even the dumbest questions or the most probing questions you aren't ones you're necessarily going to ask people or ask a brand directly, but they will ask the search engine, and you will learn those things from the questions that you wouldn't get elsewhere. Also, when it comes to public relations, you can identify trending topics and questions about the brands and companies that you represent. So, for example, you can find and react to problem issues early as they arise. That can save you and your clients a world of pain later by getting on top of those issues fast. And then conversely, you can also find and then amplify positive trends quickly to sort of maximize the beneficial PR opportunities that might come up that you would miss if you weren't paying attention to the questions people are asking online about your brand. And you've got to keep an eye on them because these questions change rapidly. So that's why using a tool that keeps an eye on those questions for you, like we've got the search alert system built into Keywords People Use that can be set up to automatically notify you when new trending questions start to appear for any kind of brand or topic that you set up. And getting on top of those quickly can be incredibly beneficial for brands and public relations. So hopefully that's given you a flavour of how working with questions rather than keywords is more than just SEO. It's more than just copywriting. It covers a whole range of areas around any business that you'll find. You might be an SEO, but you might do a bit of PPC. You might be an SEO, but you're also doing copywriting. You might be an agency. You might be a brand owner. You've got lots of different hats you might have to wear at any one point. Spending time researching based on questions can really help you understand your audience and customers in ways that working with just plain keywords cannot. So I hope this inspires you to go out and research the questions that matter in your industry. Thanks for listening, I really appreciate it. Please subscribe and share, it really helps. SEO is Not That Hard is brought to you by keywordspeopleuse.com, the solution to finding the questions people ask online. See why thousands of people use us every day. Try it today for free at keywordspeopleuse.com. If you want to get in touch, have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Channel 5 on Twitter, or you can email me at podcast@keywordspeopleuse.com. Bye for now, and see you in the next episode of SEO is Not That Hard.